love them, hate them, we're all hogtied to them, and we all do them wrong. So what's the Adam Levin secret to a good password?
Alphanumeric, upper, lowercase, symbols instead of letters, like a $sign instead of an S, an exclamation point instead of an L, punctuation. But better yet than even long and strong passwords are passphrases, much more difficult to hack.
And much easier to remember. That's fascinating.
Easier to remember.
Because you're talking about all this stuff, and I'm going, the problem is you never remember that you used a $sign instead of an S or an add instead of an A.
Right. So what you do is you create a passphrase or use the first letter of each word of the passphrase, but make sure it's not something that everyone who knows you knows is your favorite phrase.
So give me an example of a passphrase.
Well,
I want to hear yours.
A passphrase, but don't use it because a lot of people use it as an example. The quick brown fox jumped over the fence.
It's a long password.
Or the quick brown fox jumped. Anything like that.
Right.
And then put a couple letters in front of it to remind you of the website. So let's say it's Amazon, you do AZ. And then a couple numbers behind it. So maybe it's the year that you decided to use the passphrase. And then you change it up from time to time. Or if you are worried about that, take all your passwords, put it in an encrypted thumb drive, but then you need only remember two things. Where did I put my thumb drive? And have a good password to the thumb drive. Or best yet, use a password manager. And many of them are very, very good. Many of them either remember the passwords that you gave them and then allow you to change whenever you want, or they will literally create new passwords for you every month or however frequently you want to. In some cases, they'll do it every time you log into something. They'll create a new password.
Somehow password managers overwhelm my poor little brain. Are there specific ones? Can you tell me
Well, there are
two or three that are your
There's
favorite?
OnePass, LastPass, like TrueName, Dashlane is one that a lot of people have respect for. So it really depends. The key thing with password managers is do some research, read reviews. Because one thing is for sure, if people hate something, they'll get loud about it on social networking. Whereas if they love it, they also get loud about it. So read reviews, do your research, make sure you understand one, pick one that works best for you, that accomplishes the goals you want. But do not use easily decipherable, easy to remember, simple passwords like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a favorite in Ashley Madison, or your birth date, or the date you got married, or numbers that anyone who knows you would know are important to you.
Let me go back for a second to the passphrase, because actually you mentioned something in passing, which I do as well, which is you have your base password, call it a passphrase, whatever it is that you have your base. But then, so that you don't have to go crazy trying to keep track of everything, you personalize it to the individual websites. So, for example, you said the first two letters of Amazon or Barnes and Noble or whatever
or the first
website
and last letter, whatever.
Some kind of pattern.
Correct.
So that you don't have to go crazy. You can remember what those passwords are without having to keep an extensive list of them.
No, that's important. Right. And the other thing is don't share your passwords across your entire universe. So you should have different password relative to your social networking sites versus your financial services sites versus your retailing sites versus your email. And so many people, over 51% of consumers, use the same password across their entire universe of websites, and that is very, very dangerous.
Speaking of that, should you have different email addresses for like your retailers versus your finances?
Not a bad idea. Yeah. Because if you have certain receipts coming back, better to go to a retailing site than your main site. And never forget that every time you change a password or a user ID, the confirmation of that change, and in some cases the actual change, comes back to your email address. So if you're changing passwords because, let's say, there's been an issue with one of your websites, make sure that you change the password to your email first.
Good advice. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
You can get Adam's book swiped at bottomlinestore.com. And do that social thing, because this information is so important. And as Adam said, we're all in this together. So share this video, let your friends know about Adam's good work, and again, come to our site.